Hello, everyone. Let's talk about accents, accent. And there's this debate this morning. My friend Tosin mentioned something that really inspired this video, and he talked about the fact that when many Nigerians, speak with foreigners, precisely, let's say you're speaking with a British person, and you start changing your accent to sound like the British person, and then you're neither sounding British or Nigerian, then you just sound so stupid in the middle, or so funny or ridiculous, and there were comments there, and there's something I want to mention. Being someone who is passionate about phonetics and elocution and diction, there's something I just want to say about accents. And I always tell people that if you're speaking any language, there's that desire to want to sound as close to the original as possible. So it's a normal phenomenon. It's a normal experience. If you're speaking Hausa, for instance, excuse me. Now, Hausa from the little I know, good morning is Inakwana. I don't even think I'm pronouncing it well. Inakwana. Now, imagine if someone were to say Inakwana, how is it going to sound? It's going to sound funny, right? And now you're Yoruba, and imagine someone saying, thank you in Yoruba should be Ekushe, Ekushe, a part of my Yoruba. Now, imagine someone speaking Yoruba and saying Ekushe, Ekushe. You, the native Yoruba speaker, will struggle to understand. You'll struggle to understand what you're saying. Now, I am Idoma. Idoma is my language. And thank you in Idoma is Ainya, Ainya, Ainya. You have to tweak your voice. You have to get that Ainya. If you say Anya, 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 it's to the Idoma person, it's going to sound funny. So I just want us to understand that it is natural for people to try as best they can to want to sound like a native speaker, albeit if you do it in a certain way that doesn't get it correctly, it sounds worse than what than your natural or your indigenous accents. So, what's the way out of this? The way out of this is not trying to change your accent. For a lot of mature people born um, who haven't really have lived in a native English speaking country like England or America, where English is a native language, you might not be able to change your accent or get it correctly if you're not someone who deliberately or intentionally tries to do that or puts in the work to change your accent. It's going to be difficult. So what you do is get the phonetics right. You don't need to change your accent. You just need to get the phonetics right. And a classic example of a word is, imagine saying comfortable. And you want to, you say a typical Nigerian, for instance, speaking with a British, I say, I am trying to be comfortable. I've seen that. I've seen that a lot in the UK. Yeah, you walk into a mall and there's a Nigerian there and say, you are all right. Are you all right? Are you comfortable? No, you don't even need to do that. All you need to do is say, are you all right? Are you comfortable? Are you all right? Are you comfortable? Are you comfortable? Are you happy? Another word is epitome. Now imagine you saying epitome. She's just an epitome in the church. In the church, if you come to the church. So what I'm saying is you can't use the way you pronounce your words indigenously or in your accents in the Nigerian way, for instance, to sound British. It will sound funny. Now, don't change your accent and say, I will be going to church tomorrow. I will be going to church tomorrow. And when I come to church, we can talk. I will be going to church. I will be going to church tomorrow. And when I come to church, we will talk. Now, I will be going to church. And when I come to church tomorrow, we will talk because the pastor said, I will be going to church. And when I come to church tomorrow, we will talk. We will talk. So you have to have that accent, phonetics in your head. The phonetics is not really about accent. That's what I'm saying, because you have to switch somehow to get the phonetics right. And I tell people that as long as you get the phonetics right, it will alter your accent, because you have to put yourself in a mode, because that's not your original state of mind. So if you really want to get the phonetics right, you have to somehow try to position yourself to speak in a certain way and then pronounce these words correctly. Because naturally, the way Nigerians speak, we tend to express ourselves. We open our mouth, our vocal cords. We express ourselves, and so it makes us miss certain tiny details in phonetics, like the schwa, because we say teacher. Ah, you listen to British people speaking, and You might you notice their lips don't even open beyond, like, they could even be saying, yeah, you know how it works. So British people don't express themselves like that. So it's going to be very difficult for you, for a typical Nigerian to, who is not born there, to try to use our way and mannerism, ways of expressing ourselves to sound British. It's going to be really difficult. The closer, or the closest you can sound like, is probably a black British person, because we still have that gene inside us, and so it's quite tricky. So I encourage you to get the phonetics right. Instead of you saying church, you want to say church. Instead of you saying water, you want to say water. You don't need to try to, is the water boiling? Oh, how are you doing today? Are you fine? No. But if you can get it correctly, if you're still young and you fancy speaking, like a native speaker, I would say I would encourage you to do that, because it's normal. As long as you watch TV, you watch programs, you can be influenced. We've been influenced by rap, we've been influenced by lifestyle, fashion. So it's not outlandish to be influenced by the way people speak across different cultures. But it's not a problem if you don't sound like that. So just be natural with yourself. Go with what flows to you naturally. The Indians, they speak in their own way. They speak in their own way, and they get understood. At some point, people understand you. So just be natural. One of the things you never want to do is to be uncomfortable, to be forcing yourself to be what you're not. So if you can practice hard and it becomes natural to you, good and fine. Personally, for me, I code switch. Now I'm very proud of that. I don't feel bothered, because when I get into official settings, even the office, in the office, when I get serious, my accent tends to change. Um, but I've been doing this for, I've been doing phonetics, studying phonetics. I'm an actor, different things for over 20 years. So it tends to just switch into something. I don't know what that sounds like, but I'm happy the way I speak, especially when I'm serious or official. But of course, I still speak my pidgin, and then it depends on the environment as well. If I find myself around my friends, and sometimes if we're not too serious, and then the typical Nigerian part of me will just come out, and that's how I'm going to be speaking. And of course, when you want to scold your kids, or you're speaking with your partner, who are you both are Nigerians, and you know where you're coming from, like you just change in your head. But once you get into that official setting, everything just changes. So what I'm saying is, get the phonetics right, say comfortable, not comfortable, and you'll be fine. You don't need to sound like, are you comfortable today? Because I was driving in the car and it was now as if one man now came and the man now decided to push. So are you all right? Nice one, guys. Nice one, guys.